Is Joker your best work?
Yeah, Joker is the best thing I've done to date, I think. I mean, every movie I do, I have certain pride about it and, some regrets. I would go through a thing where I would try to have the fewest number of scenes that I thought, I really didn't do the best job. I didn't like the choices I made. The lighting's not as good as I should. I made a mistake, those kind of things. Sometimes I would just look to see if I could get those number of scenes down to, 5 to 4 to 3 to 1. In this, I just think every day I really sort of pushed myself personally to try to do a combination of make something that really serviced the emotional integrity of the story, but also tried in whatever way I could to be a bit more artful than I perhaps had chances to be in other movies. And so to really make something that I felt like could service the movie, but also show a little bit more of an artistic side of myself. And so in that regard, I'm super proud of the movie and the way it turned out, because it does feel like a high water mark for my own personal work, and something where I now can, every movie I ever do, I literally try to say, this has to be the best thing I've ever done, every movie. And so I always set out for that to be the goal, and certainly it was one of the last movies I've done. So I feel like it to some extent I accomplished that for myself.
And how does that feel? Because I think you had said that there was one year where you got one job and you made like X amount of dollars, and I'm sure that was a very tough year. And now to have this be this monumental, not just the work, but the box office results. And
that was like 20 years ago is when I made this movie, Kissing Jessica Stein. And I think it was just, there are all kinds of watershed moments that you have when you look back at a career. And sometimes you obviously, it's easier to look back at them as opposed to when they're happening. That year was monumental simply because I was doing camera assisting and I was sort of going back and forth between shooting and assisting. And I made a real effort that year to stop doing any assisting and really cut that tie off and just hang in the wind with whatever I could get my hands on. And it was tough going because it's early in your career and you interview for a lot of stuff, but you don't necessarily get it. And Kissing Jessica Stein was near the end of the year, and I remember just thinking, wow, that was a tough year. It was like a year of struggle, and yet that movie then served to be, at the time, was like the first movie of mine that sort of went to festivals and made some money and gave me a profile that allowed me to get Garden State, and Garden State then allowed me to get, Dukes of Hazzard, which allowed me to get studio movies like Dan in Real Life or Hangover and those kind of things. So each of those things ends up serving as like a stepping stone to the next thing. So, I've had successes with movies where like the Hangover franchise obviously gave a profile to me and Todd and allowed us to make more movies and gave me some other opportunities. But I think between Godzilla this year and Joker, both being released in the same year and being not necessarily comedies or in that genre, it's felt like a really positive year because I've just been able to sort of show a little different gear of myself photographically and just show muscles that I think other people hadn't necessarily had an opportunity to see, things that I've always wanted to experience, which hopefully will lead to future projects that will continue to show that side of myself and allow me to do stuff that's challenging, but also a little bit artistic as well.
I think I remember sitting in the theater before some art house film and Joker trailer came on, and it's not a film if I just heard it on its own, but when I saw the trailer and saw with the light and the color and the music and everything, I was like, okay, this is one I definitely want to see. And so it's interesting how that draws in non-comic book fans.
Right.
Just that artistic.
Yeah, is that in a weird way we made this 70s art house movie. I mean, it's a really challenging movie in the landscape of the way studios make and release movies these days, in spite of the fact that it obviously, and it's helped by the fact that it has the IP of Joker in DC, but on its face value, it's like, it's not traditionally a movie that you would think would be as successful as it would be, and I think that's obviously very satisfying because we tried to make something uncompromised and something that we felt could be challenging and wholly original in our own way, but that can also, you know, blow up in your face, and you make something that, you know, doesn't do well, and then you know, there's a whole nother conversation about why it didn't do well. But obviously we're really excited about the fact that people have embraced it.